Mics are on. We're ready to party. Thanks for coming out, guys. Give yourselves a big round of applause for showing up to Steve's Guitars. Steve's Rocksteady Guitars.
Welcome. My name is Beth Brandon, and this is Miller Ford.
Hi. Nice to see you all.
You are all here. One more round of applause for coming out.
We love you
on
guys.
A cold January evening. We love it. We love having you here. We love being back at Steve's. It's been a minute. And we always like to take you down a trip down memory lane and give you the history. Anybody seeing Patio Night Live Presents? That's us, Patio Night Live. Anybody seeing us for the first time?
Yeah. All right.
Woo! All right. For the couch in the back. I don't know who any of you guys are.
So we're popping cherries tonight.
Yeah, totally popping cherries on the couch.
For us.
Hey, you know, where else would you pop a cherry? On the couch.
Best place to do that. I think a lot of us, that's where they popped, was on this couch somewhere at a beach house or like, like whatever.
So our history is this. Let's see, 5 years ago now, in the dark olden days of the pandemic, Miller was getting checks from the government.
I was.
He was making more money than I was, and I was an essential worker. And I was wearing
Joe
rubber.
Or Trump. Who do I thank for that? I don't know. Thanks, government.
Yeah. And I was wearing rubber gloves and managing a dispensary, saving the world 1/8 at a time.
She was essential.
I was. And I was like wearing my gloves and my mask, and I was on the second floor at work, and Miller was like riding his bike around town.
Daily bike ride. That was my only
And he was
job.
like, hey, you want to do some comedy? I got the keys to Bootsy Bellows.
That's exactly how I sounded, too.
I was like, ugh, I only have back brakes.
No resentment at all.
So we went to Bootsy Bellows, which was ground zero for COVID.
And we had a good time. It was ground zero for COVID.
Yep.
We had a good time. We used different things for microphones because there was no audience. And
and we just did the show for our moms and anybody else who was watching on social media. And then it became a thing, and the weather got nice, and we went to my patio, and hence Patio Night Live was born. So neighbors came, they brought lawn chairs, and then we took the show all up and down the valley. Back and forth and back and forth.
It was like a Partridge Family of two.
We kicked out the keyboardist.
I play the sax. She plays the keyboard. It's a jamming time. Our name is R.L. Stein. That's our stage name.
And so here we are. And now Steve's, and we were going to give a little shout out to Steve watching at home. Hey, Steve.
And big shout out to Ralph, the man on the board. Just here for Ralph. We'll put our hands together for Ralph.
Thank you, Ralph.
We love Ralph.
So that's our game, and we'll do a show here the third Thursday of every month.
Yep.
In the winter, not in the off season.
No, not in the off season.
So the next couple months we'll be here. Yep. And what else are we going to talk about tonight?
We're talking about we got big stuff coming up on the 20th. You guys excited about that?
All right.
That's a vocal. Yes.
He's going to
the
inauguration.
It's inauguration day, and they've got some really great performers. They got the village people. People are going to perform. Yeah, that's a weird choice, I thought. I was like, wow, pulling way back.
Really?
It's like their big hit is YMCA. It's
they're
like,
really going to perform?
They are playing.
I heard about Carrie Underwood, and people are like, Sean.
Yeah, well, I mean, she sings the Monday night or Sunday night football thing. I wasn't surprised, but the village people.
Surprised,
and they're on board. I saw an interview with them. They were like, it's just really good that we're there and we can perform our YMCA. And I was like, what's that have to do with the inauguration? It's like, young man.
They're finishing up in Aspen. It's Ski Week. So they're taking a jet plane straight to D.C.
It's not going to even be the real village people. It's just be 5 gay guys from Aspen dressed up like Indians and cops and shit.
With assless chaps.
But aren't all chaps assless?
They are,
Which I own a pair. That was in our first show. Well, we got some stuff going on, don't we?
We do. We're I see the crowd is about the same age as us.
Yeah, we're
I don't know. I see
similar
some, maybe
demographic.
some youngs back there.
One
Just
young
in the back
person.
row there.
Yeah.
I'm not talking to you, Marky.
Yeah.
Yeah, there might be a couple young people here, but now Miller and I are reaching the age where
We just
you
have
know,
ailments.
shit's breaking
I
down.
had ailments. I had a sty taken out of my eye yesterday.
He had it cut out. He was wearing a
that was weird.
patch.
Wow. And then the doctor didn't even wear gloves when he did it. I was like, oh, okay. Thanks, Aspen Hospital. I will just wear this patch for the next 12 hours. Yeah, and then, that's one thing.
And I caught everything that came around during the holidays. I think it was norovirus first, but I'm so old that it was the morning after Christmas, and I had like eggnog with whiskey and white wine, and I was like, I'm just hungover. That was a bad call. Only 2 drinks, but at over 40, anything goes. Like, you could be hungover for the next 4 days. So I, beat myself up and Catholic guilted myself. I'm like, you better get your ass into work, girl. And I was like, ugh, and then I threw up at work, which is a bad call.
Yes.
I know. And I was like, hey, I don't think it's a hangover, you guys. I think it's the norovirus later. So I didn't really get too many people sick, but then it morphed into something else. And this is what happens over 40. You're like hangover or norovirus. Or whatever.
Or AIDS.
Yeah. No.
We don't know what we're catching anymore. It's in the air now. But
it's airborne.
It's an airborne form.
We can get this show going.
Yeah, you want to kick it off? Let's go.
Can.
But I thank you guys again for coming out.
We wanted to prime the pump. I can see you guys are ready to roll. You don't need any.
You got some laughing in you. Yeah, that's how we do it. So let's get this show kicking.
Yeah, we've got a great show. There's a bunch of dudes, in case you haven't seen the demographic here. No, dudes and me. No, it's going to be a great show. We're going to keep it laughing. And like I said, you'll see us here the third Thursday. And the last Thursday of the month, if you happen to be in Aspen, the W.
W Hotel, our new venue there. It's going to be a great time. And then we got a show booked down at the Vaudeville on the 3rd of April, which will be super fun. Get some Denver comedians to come up for that one. Speaking of comedians, let's get the first one on the stage. He is awesome. He does comedy between here and Houston. He's a great addition to the Valley when he is here. He did place at the Collective's comedy competition this last summer, and I'm so happy he was able to be here tonight and in town to join us here at Steve's Guitars. So let's put our hands together for Gabriel Salinas.
Thank you, Miller. Yeah, so I got 5th place. He was very nice, but as Miller said, I'm from Houston, but I'm originally from Mexico. Uh-oh. This thing is moving by itself. All right. So, now that Trump won, I'm laying low. I'm trying to just blend in with the crowd. My name is Gabriel Salinas, but I'm thinking of changing it to Gabe Sanders. You guys like that? And why don't I go all the way to Colonel Sanders? Is that better? I'm here with my nephew. His name is Marcelo. But I'm thinking you should change it to like John Wayne Friedenberger, Bald Eagle, something like that. And then I told my wife we should rename my daughter's name is Raquel. We should rename her Magdalena. And she says, well, that's actually very nice. That's a nice name. She doesn't know. Is in Mexico, Magdalena, the short name for Magdalena is MAGA. So she will be MAGA Sanders. She's ready for 2025. I come from Houston. That's all. It's nice to be in a blue state. I think it's the only one. I think so. So I got a Tesla. Not because I like electric cars, but because I want to be in good terms with the vice president. Elon Musk. He's the vice president, or maybe the president. So I've been driving around, and I do full self-driving, pumping like YMCA. I don't know if Trump knows the gay anthem, but, I'm playing that. Okay, no, it works. I'll change it maybe it's Trump listening to this. You never know. So I was being self-driven, and then I said, well, you know, Trump and Elon keep saying that they're going to deport Mexicans in 1 day. And there I am being self-driven. I said, wait a minute. Can't they just drive me across the border? Like here I am thinking I'm going to HEB, and I wake up in Reynosa. So I got rid of that car. I'm not doing that. Who knows? So I went to HEB. You know, HEB is a very Texas supermarket, and I was there with my daughter. She speaks Spanish. I always encourage her to speak Spanish, but now you gotta take it easy a little bit. You know, don't shout it out. So she's shouting something, and I'm like, I'm gonna pretend I don't know her because there's people watching. You know, there's old people watching me, and I just go, Los Mexicana, aisle 13. And she's like, what are you doing to that? I'm sorry, baby. And then as Ice takes her away, I just whisper to her, something you'll understand. I mean, please, baby. You got to do what you got to do. And that's what people don't understand. You know, people don't understand why the polls didn't work, but it's because of Mexicans. You know, we're chameleons. We just change teams at the last minute. You know, we don't care. Like, you know, it used to be the Pats. Now it's the Chiefs. You know, we don't care. So, you know, it's survival. So I'm trying to avoid the stereotypes, not using them, but becoming them, you know. And they called me at my school, that my kid, the principal called me. He says, it's an emergency, Mr. Salinas, come here. So I walk in, there he is, all frightened. The principal is there, 2 bullies with their kids, and the principal says, Mr. Salinas, this is very serious. Your son was called a racial slur. I'm like, what was he called? He says, well, I can't repeat it. But it's a stereotype. Well, you got to tell me, right? And he says, well, he was called a beaner. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. What does that mean? I grew up here, you know? I don't know what that means. And he says, well, it's a racial stereotype for Mexicans because they eat a lot of beans, allegedly. And I'm like, okay. All right, so I look at my son. Everybody's waiting for me to speak. And I say, well, you know, I'm going to stand up for truth, justice, and show him a lesson, you know, a teaching moment, right? So I said, son, you do eat a lot of beans. You know, they're technically right. I don't know why, you know, they're making a big fuss about it. And, you know, it's nutritious, and, you know, you could have done much worse, you know. That's not bad. And the principal didn't like it. He said, well, you know, we have to ask him, you know, how he feels. And so, you know, son, how do you feel? And my son says, well, I'll tell you what, I would feel much better if you brought me some beans right now, because I'm really hungry. All this bean talk, it's getting me hungry. So I did the most American thing you can do to meet your neighbors, which is get a dog. It seems like that's what people do. Get a dog and you talk about dogs because you love them more than your kids. And then I've been thinking about that. You know, why? You know, are kids better than dogs, or dogs better than? I think dogs are better than kids. I'll tell you what, because you don't have to tell them you love them, right? You don't have to. You can feed them on the floor, and you can slap them a little bit, right? And I'm talking about my kids. I would never, slap my dog. I would never hit my dog. Not at all. I love that dog. I'm kidding. I don't hit my kids. I use a belt. You know, actually had a really bad allergic reaction to the dog. And so, you know, I had to talk to the kids. We sat down. We had to make a really bad decision to get rid of my wife. You know, she sleeps at the garage now. So I sleep with my dog, who at least he doesn't mind the cuddling. That means my wife doesn't like it, you know. So yeah, I turned 45, and my wife, who's very sweet, as you heard, she left me a note. She said, you know, you have 2,000 weeks to live, so, you know, enjoy them. And by the way, you probably have less weeks because of your family's heart history. So here's a gym membership, and go work out. So I went work out, and, you know, I love it when you get to a gym, the trainer says, well, what's your objective? And I'm like, well, I don't want to be bulky. Like, I don't want to be all muscular. like Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever that guy's. Like that's an option. I want to be ripped, like Brad Pitt in Fight Club. You know. He says, yeah, bro. He's a Texas bro. Yeah, man, I see it. Really? Yeah. He says, like, give me 6 weeks. I'm like, really, 6 weeks? Yes, you'll be like Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt? He says, Brad Pitt. In Fight Club? He says, well, more than Benjamin Button, like in the beginning when he's old and hairy. I can do that in 6 weeks. So I got diagnosed with ADHD. And when I got diagnosed, my wife says, I told my wife, well, who would have thought, right? ADHD? She said, well, me. I would have thought. And I said, well, why didn't you tell me? She says, I did. Well, what happened? You didn't listen. Okay, that makes sense. So I've been taking ADHD meds to help, and they do help. The only thing, the side effect that people don't tell you about is that you become less sensitive in your body. That means it's very hard to orgasm. It takes a long, long, long time. And so, sex at my house means that I get 45 minutes of cardio, and my wife gets to catch up on a book. Just clean up afterwards, please. Don't make a mess. So I'll end with this one. It has to do with ADHD. I was, obviously I got rid of my Tesla, right? So I don't drive a Tesla anymore. I was taking an Uber to work. And I don't know what you guys do. I know you don't use Uber here, but in Houston it's very popular. And I always choose no conversation. That's an option. Yeah, like I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm busy. I have my business, something, Rummy Q or something. So I get in the car. It's actually a very nice car, very nice SUV, very nice guy. He wants to speak, but I have my podcast. I said, no, just give him the address. He doesn't have the app. I have to give him directions. So he finally gets going, and then I get a couple of messages, and then, one of them is, we're kind of halfway there, and I'm reading them, and one of them is Uber saying, like, where are you? And the second is my wife saying, Gabo, the neighbor says you're on his car, and you're forcing him to drive you to work. What the hell are you doing? So I take off my AirPods, and I say, hey, Bob. I said, I'm so close to work, so do you mind just dropping me there? I mean, we're so close. And he did. So I gave him 5 stars. Actually 4 because he talked too much. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Gabe Salinas, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Miller's coming up here too. Oh, what do we need to do to it? Oh, not contaminated by me because maybe I'm sick. I don't know. Oh. We're right here. This one works well. It just has a moving arm. Yeah, I'm going to do that right now. This one. Wait, this is. Oh, there we go. Nope, not. Oh, there we go. You guys are like, that's so unprofesh, Beth. Okay, next person coming up to the stage, very good friend of mine, very funny. He is a founding member of Consensual Improv, and he's going to give stand-up a try. It's not his first time, but maybe his first time at Steve's? His first time at Steve's. Please put your hands together for Mr. Gerald DeLisser.
Hello. Hello, Carbondale. This town is changing. I was at Black Nugget the other day, and I saw a girl wearing a bra. I talked to the bartender, had her kicked right out. But my name is Gerald DeLisser. I get a lot, people say the weirdest shit to me. Lately, a lot of young people have been pointing at me going, Alvin, Alvin. Like, what? They was talking about Alvin and the Chipmunks. I guess I look like David Cross. I know him as Anus Tart from Arrested Development. I don't know if you know that guy. Well, the reason I have the beard is last time I had my face shaved people said I look like George Santos. I don't know if you know who that guy is, but he was the effeminate, lying politician. And I'm an effeminate, truthful actor, which is, I guess, not very different. Something else someone said to me, really, was they said, you should shave your beard because the only people with big beards are either Islamic extremists or Trump MAGA, which is ridiculous. I'm not either of those things. I am both of those things. Praise Allah Trump. I believe when I sacrifice myself for Allah Trump, I will awake in heaven on a golden toilet, and 72 Melanias will be fighting to give me a blumpkin. Would you take me higher? That song's probably the most beautiful song ever written about asking for a blowjob. Would you take me higher to a place where blind men see? And that's definitely what that song's about. I don't know if you know the song Hallelujah. I think that song's about receiving a BJ. Especially the part where he just riffs on Hallelujah for like a minute. Hallelujah. 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 And another song I was thinking about was Use Me by Bill Withers. That part, where he says, I know, for like 2 minutes. I think that's him trying not to nut. Thinking about baseball. I know, 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 I know the batting average of Carl Ripken Jr. I'm feeling pretty good about myself because I'm like an explorer. I'm like Magellan, Captain Cook, or Columbus, Christopher Columbus, except a little less bloodthirsty. I've discovered a zone where many people live already, but I'm here to name it, plant my flag in it. I know a lot of you are probably familiar with the friend zone, but not as much as I'm familiar with it. As Bain would say, I was born in the friend zone. You merely adopted it. But this new zone is the dad zone, where you're trying to get sweet on a nice young lady, not too young, but maybe just a couple years younger than you, and you find out they just want you to be sweet to them and buy them everything, but they have no sexual intentions with you. The other day on New Year's, I was walking by I had light up shoes for New Year's, walking around, and some lady said to me, I like your shoes, Daddy. A stranger called me Daddy, which I think is consent. Like if you were in court and, you might have had her sign papers away saying, I consent to be with this man. But if you had a witness that some stranger called you Daddy, the judge would just be like, oh, Daddy, case dismissed. Get out of here. You should never admit to a police officer that you went to a brewery, because it is impossible to say the word brewery and not sound drunk. Let's see, you seem like the most sober person here. Can you say the word brewery?
Brewery?
Yeah. No. Get in the van. There's a van outside the brewery. Just pick it up, people. Dating is weird. It was really weird. Kind of during the pandemic time, there was this, when Black Lives Matter was happening, because I saw a lot of women on their Tinder profile would write Black Lives Matter, which I'm not really sure what that means when you put it on your dating profile. Does it mean that only black dicks taste good? Or black dicks taste just as good as white dicks? Or I wouldn't actually taste a black dick, but I want you to be not disgusted by the thought that I might like tasting a black dick once in a while, though I never would. I haven't used a microwave in like 12 years. I don't know if you guys know this. I was watching this documentary, YouTube video, the other day, and what actually happens to your food when you microwave it is, what you see looking through it, that's a lie. That's a TV recording projection. But what really is happening to your food is it's teleported to hell, and a demon farts on it till it bubbles. True story. I really don't think, well, one thing I like about Carbondale too as well is that the ladies don't shave. I really don't, I think it's kind of messed up for a guy to expect a lady to shave, because you're wanting them to look like not a woman, like a girl. And, God gave you a machete to fight through the jungle, the human tongue. And I think, you are Dr. Livingston, and sometimes you feel like you're stuck in that jungle and you'll never get out. But somewhere is El Dorado. How long have I been up here? 5 minutes. Something else I think is messed up, I don't even know if this is a joke, but I just think it's messed up, is I think tickling is inappropriate. I think tickling is the lowest form of sexual assault. I don't know, I don't think you should tickle someone against their will. I think you're training them to be okay with it. All right, I'm gonna leave.
Let's see if there. Thanks, Ralph. Give it up for Gerald one time. Gerald's coming through. Gabe, are you just head over to the couch? I thought he's leaving us, dude. I was like, come on, baby. I love you too much. Yeah, Gerald is awesome. I'm so stoked he came here tonight and did it. He was shooting a movie earlier. Go figure. Can you guess what kind of movie? Good. Yes, it was a tickling documentary. Oh, my gosh. Let's keep the laughs rolling. I'm so stoked that we have our next comedian here with us tonight to dish out the laughter. He is a good friend of mine. He was on Consensual Improv with us for a while. He is a radio personality back in the day here in the Valley, and still to this day, he is hosting the concerts at the Snowmass Concert Series. So you probably will recognize him as soon as he gets here on stage. So let's put our hands together for Don Chaney, my boy. What's up, brother?
Radio from back in the day when we rubbed sticks together to make electricity, yeah. Gerald, I learned so much from you. I kind of feel like I want to just be alone with my thoughts at the moment, but I'll do that later. Heavy shit, man. It's great to be here. I hit the Aspen thrift store like I always do before my comedy shows. You like the ensemble? I like the Aspen thrift store because instead of looking like a poor guy, I can buy clothes that make me look like a rich guy that just dresses very, very poorly. And it works for dollars a day. I got down here. I've lived in Aspen now for 2 years. I don't have to commute anymore. I basically walk to work. And it only took 2 years for me to realize I don't see how you guys do it, driving down here every day. I did it once, and it just made me crazy. And by the way, it's a zipper merge. It's a zipper merge. It's not a broken zipper merge. I got the Carbondale, and down apparently here it's a Velcro merge. It's just kind of, but it works. I'm happy to be down in one of the earliest venues that I think that we did comedy. And I wish Steve could be here. We all wish him the best. The holidays are over. We got through that emotional turmoil. I'm really glad about that. I'm really happy to say, though, everything I'm about to tell you is absolutely true. I don't really travel a lot. I don't fly anymore. I love to fly. I just don't do it because I see the videos during Thanksgiving of that woman in the airport in St. Louis going, "We just wanted to see Grandma in Florida." And I've just decided to drive. I went out to West Virginia to see family this Thanksgiving. I rented a car from Aspen Airport, and I drove across the country. Because let me tell you what, if you want to learn about different cultures that are different from your own, just travel across the country. Do you know that West Virginia has the same word for a spoon that we do? I know. We're more alike than different, aren't we? We really are. And I learned that on my road trip. But what I also learned was that because I've been poor most of my life and kind of had this white trash upbringing and have never in my life driven a car that was like less than 15 years old, I rented a 2025 Jeep Compass, and I don't ever want to go back. If you'd have seen me, if you'd have been in the back seat, you just thought I was just like an Okie. I was just like going, "Oh my God, cruise control. Oh my God, we've got this. Oh my God, it's going to keep me from hitting the guy in front of me. It's going to keep the guy from, oh, this is awesome. I'm going to, don't get into the blind spot." It tells me when there's a car in my blind spot. I really was amazed by all this. And then when I found out that the wipers actually knew how much fucking rain was on the windshield, oh my gosh. I didn't want to go back. And so I'm driving through Kansas. It's about midnight, and I'm just marveling at all of this collision avoidance technology, and I'm literally in the middle of the thought that I'm driving the coolest car ever, and all of a sudden, bam. Sorry about that. Didn't mean that. I hit a deer. I blasted a deer in Garden City, Kansas, and destroyed a 2025 Jeep Compass. And I'm in the middle of the road, freaking out about so many things. I've just blasted. I didn't see the deer. There's chunks of deer in the front of this car. But the first thing I'm thinking of is that Kansas cop that's going to come and see my Colorado plates. And then, yes. So I'm going through all my stuff, and I'm making sure things are in their appropriate place. And he finally pulls over. It's 12:30, and I'm ready for the worst. And he looks at the car, and he says, "Damn, that was a big one you hit. We should go find him, and I'll take your picture next to him." I'm not making this up. And I was like, "Seriously?" He's like, "You don't want your picture next to him?" I said, no, really, I really don't. I just want to get over there to that Motel 6 right over there. And he says to me, "Oh, you don't want to stay there." I'm like, "Well, what do you mean I don't want to stay there?" Well, he goes, "A lot of stuff goes on over there." Like what? And he says, "Well, like drug deals, things like that." And I was like, "Well, what kind of drugs?" I said, "A fucking deer. I could use some of those right now." And he kind of looked at me, and I was like, "No, really, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding." And a $250 Uber ride to Wichita, Kansas, where it hurts, puts me into another car with all those bells and whistles. Not quite as many as the Jeep that I destroyed, but almost as many. And I get taken to Wichita by an Uber driver, this young kid. And he says, "Wow, I'm really excited. I've never been to Wichita." I said, "You're from Garden City." He goes, "I know." It's an hour away. He was so excited to go to Wichita for the very first time that he almost missed his exit. He's like, "Oh my God, this is so cool. This is the big city." I'm going, "Look at the fucking road, will you?" And so he gets me to the airport. They get me in another car. And this one's got Texas plates. And I'm kind of bummed about that. I don't want anyone thinking I'm from Texas. I know that was silly, but I'm conscious about that. And I hated it until I accidentally cut this guy off. And he rolls down his window and he says, "Go back to fucking Texas." And I was about to respond with, and I realized, wait, this could be fun. And by the time my trip was over, like 50 people between here and West Virginia thought I was from Texas. Yeah, my Texas plates. It was when you drive that much, you solve all the problems of the world. It is a lot of time to spend by yourself, but I do really enjoy driving by myself. I did have a guy suggest a book on tape for my drive, and I just said, "That's really fucking stupid. A, I don't think you should read a book while you're driving, and B, a book on tape, that's really boring. Who wants to read about tape? That's stupid." So I didn't take that. I got to go to my first White Castle. I'm a West Coast baby. On my trip, I got to go to my first White Castle. I was so excited. And as he brought my burgers to the counter, I said, I know I sound stupid, but I'm really, really psyched. This is the first time I've never in my life had a White Castle that didn't come out of a microwave. And he put the tray in front of me. He says, well, you're not starting today. So I was a little bit bummed about that. I used to have, before I was an uproariously funny comedian like I am today, I used to make the same joke over and over and over as a young person. Whenever I was talked to somebody considerably older than me, I would always joke and say, well, you better get home or you're going to miss Matlock. Well, the universe is mocking me because I'm 60 now and I watch Matlock. They brought it back just to mock me. But before you say you better get home and watch Matlock, I was just, well, fuck you, because I can stream it. I can watch it when I want. I can watch it whenever I want to. I watched a lot of TV as a child, watched very little in the middle of my life. I got out and I just did stuff, and then you hit 60 and you find yourself with more time that you just like sitting in that chair watching TV. And I've kind of gotten back to it, and I've got the things that I like to watch. But what's amazing me is the difference in what they allow on television ads. From the last time I was watching television, I actually saw an ad for Trojan condoms, and it said, Trojan. You probably have seen this. It says, grab a Trojan and let your sexual imagination run wild. I hate to break it to you, Trojan, but none of my sexual fantasies involve protection. Not one of them. Not one of them. And then you've got the hymns. Hymns. Have sex like you used to. Well, you mean drunk and without any consequences? That's what I remember. But no, that's not what they meant. These guys actually got together. You got to get a kick out of this. And this is the order of their services. Okay? Okay, lose weight, grow hair, get rid of anxiety, have better sex, have longer sex. I know, ridiculous, eh? For a 60-year-old, those are promises you just can't keep. But no, they took it farther. They were in the boardroom and they said, well, you know, we promised them a bunch of ridiculous things. Got to go one further. I'm not making this up. The last thing they promised you, smooth skin. Yeah, smooth skin. So you gave me hair. You got rid of my anxiety. No, none of these things are really going to happen. Does anybody use hymns? You don't have to tell me. Okay, you're not going to tell me. Also, I saw a great ad about AI. AI scares me because, well, to start with, it said, unlearn everything. Get ready to unlearn everything. One, that scares me that's a selling point. Okay, you're going to learn everything. Two, I don't want to unlearn everything. I want to remember how to use a crab fork, okay? I don't want to pee myself in the middle of the day, and I don't want to think that I need to go see a Wes Anderson movie. I don't want to, all right? Nope. Now I just spend my evening watching previews. I can't remember the last time I actually watched a whole movie. 2.5 hours later, oh, it's time to go to bed. Oh, I really love that preview for the new Twisters movie. I might watch that sometime, yeah. I actually went to see Beetlejuice. I think it had been 10 years since I've been in a theater. I thought, I'm going to go to a theater again. And then, of course, after the previews, which I didn't get to pick and skip through, I just had to watch the whole thing. Of course, there's that guy that makes a comment after every preview. There's that one guy. You hear his voice amongst everything else. The preview ends. He's like, oh, that looks good. And the next preview ends. It's like, oh, wow, she really didn't age well, did she? And then I got through that. Well, then Beetlejuice comes on. And about 2 minutes into it, I'm like, I'm not really into this. And I can't find the fucking remote. And then I realized that I couldn't change the movie and that I wasn't at home. And it's kind of a problem because the other problem that I'm running into now is I get about halfway through a movie and I start getting really pissed off at how predictable it is until I realize that I've seen it already. That's really happening. That's frightening. That's truly really happening to me. I'm trying to find new hobbies and new things to do instead of just sitting in front of the TV. Of course, you guys know about my old hobby of riding the trailer bike without the kid on it because, people didn't know that I was like a pedophile or the kid fell off like 5 miles back. I used to do that just to entertain myself. I go down and watch the Amtrak smokers in that little circle in Clement Springs smoking while the train. I know, I really need a life. But I've got a new thing I do now. I go to the Ajax Tavern at the end of a ski day, and I watch people try to get a table. It's fun. No, it really is. Go do this. It's great fun because they'll try to tell you they are who they are. And a couple of days ago, this lady says, "Well, we want a table." And he says, "Well, I'm afraid we don't have one." She goes, "But I bring the party. I bring the party." And he's like, "Well, what do you mean? You're like an event planner? Or a wedding?" And she goes, "No, I bring the party." And he's like, "Well, are you like a liquor salesperson or something like that? Are you do you have a stripper? What do you do?" She goes, "I bring the party." And he's like, no, you can't have a table. So, yeah, I'm at that age now where if I stand at the entrance to Walmart too long, somebody asks me where electronics is, so not doing that. I'm at the age now where instead of laughing at me when I fall, my friends ask if I need help and people come running. Oh, hey, I'm learning Braille. I'm going to learn Braille. 3 reasons I'm learning Braille. 1, I want to find out what blind people are writing about me. 2, what in the hell do those signs at the Braille Trail up on Independence Pass say? All right, what do they say? If you could see, you could see a tree out here. I know that's not nice. That's not nice. Also, the 3rd reason I'm learning Braille is, well, they did warn us about masturbation and blindness, so I'm not taking any fucking chances. So, I don't like to judge a book by its cover, but I met a woman named Kale yesterday, and I knew right away I wasn't going to like her. Right away. And I knew for sure that I didn't want to pick her out from between my teeth. And with that laugh from Gerald, my name is Don Chaney. You guys have a good evening.
Don Chaney. He's so funny. Don and I were in Laugh Your Aspen Off in 2006. Wow. 7 years ago. That was a long time ago. Okay, we're going to keep going. I do want to add one more to brewery. Brewery. I can't even say it. See, I sound drunk. But try to say this kind of tree. Deciduous. Deciduous. You're like always like a gassy, burpy drunk if you say deciduous. So anyway, without further ado, very good friend of mine, co-founder of Patio Night Live, not Patio Night Knife, and a founding member of Consensual Improv. Boy, deep breath. Please put your hands together for Miller Ford.
Yeah, guys, give it up for the comedians who've come up already tonight. Gabe, Gerald, Don. It's good stuff. The other one you can't say when you're drunk is just the word police officer. Like, anytime you watch a video of a drunk, police officer. Because speaking of being drunk, I brought something for all of you wonderful people that came here tonight. Because guess what? Steve's Guitars, you can bring your own booze in. So I'm just going to, who wants a fireball? Anybody? Yeah. One fireball sold over here. Sir, you get the Jim Beam for being awesome here. And then I brought this especially for you. This is a German cordial. It's very rare. It's called Jägermeister. Most people don't know about it unless they're 25. But it's good. You should try it after dinner. It's usually it's very good. Guys, I'm so happy. One more time for Ralph for just kicking it off, taking care of this mic, making it work. I love doing stand-up comedy. The one thing I love about it the most is as soon as I get on stage, you judge me by how I look. I love that, and I know I look like a guy who rides his skateboard to AA meetings. So, I mean, and that's what you might check out. I know I look like a guy who has that app on his phone so he can't drunk dial his ex-girlfriend. That's also kind of true. But I know I look like a guy who, when he brings a girl home, shows them pictures from his senior yearbook. Yeah, that was my quote. You want to read it? Isn't it cool? And I do that too. I do that. That's enough about me. I want to know a little bit more about you guys. I'm going to ask you guys some questions throughout this, so feel free. We're family here now. It's in this little room. We got any drunk drivers out there in the audience? No, I mean I think. Thanks, Ralph. Ralph drives drunk all the time. He's great. I'm just kidding, Ralph. No, I mean, we didn't hear any. Was the last show, honestly, though, I asked that question, and 50% of the room was like, yeah, we drive drunk. And that freaked me out, okay? Let's just be honest. But let's also be honest, and if we all showed our criminal records right now, there would be 3 DUIs in this room. The stats would show that that's normal for this valley. No, but I don't condone drunk driving at all, but I find it very strange because I feel like the lizard brain of a human being gets involved with drunk driving because people either do drunk drive or they don't drunk drive. There's like no fair weather fan drunk driver. You know, it's like I just do it sometimes. And when I drank, it was like I was the type of drunk that if you gave me a set of keys, I would just yeet them across the room. Like, no, I want to continue to drink tomorrow. Like that's just the kind of drinker I was. But I have been sober for 9 years. Thank you. You should really woo yourselves since you can drink those minis like a normal person. That was not me. But, you know, I have, since I've sobered up, I have been pulled over a couple of times after 2 a.m. And it was funny because I have found a life hack for any of you undisclosed drunk drivers out there to immediately not get a DUI. Okay, so when the cop walks up to your car, there's been some exchange, he'll sooner or later ask you, how much have you had to drink tonight? Now look at that police officer directly in the eye and just say, I don't drink. The cop immediately glitches out and has no idea what to say. He just says thank you and walks away. You don't even get a warning. And that's just to help you drunk drivers out. Again, I don't condone it. But I will say that the thing about it is, it's like just picture, you know, a lot of times this is the problem. When someone asks you how much you had to drink and you're about to maybe get a DUI, don't say 2 beers or maybe I was drinking earlier that day. No, don't do that because what if the cop walked up to your car and was like, how many people have you murdered today? You're going to look at him and go, none? You're not going to all of a sudden be like, well, there was that hit and run in college I didn't tell anybody about. Like, just keep that shit to yourself. Speaking of driving, I love road rage. I love road rage. Not that I like to do it all that much, but I feel like it's so pure. It's just it's like the only time we as human beings can get in tune with our shadow self. And it's like, because look, if I am yelling at somebody in front of me and all of a sudden their car fucking explodes, I'm going to be like, that's what you get. Good. You're dead, idiot, now. And I would never do that in any other circumstance. I just wish I could hear the nicest person I know turn into an absolute racist sexist in their car, just screaming like my priest. No, I don't have one of those. No, this has turned into a murdery set. It's turned into a murdery set. So let's just keep it going. Let's keep talking about murder. How do we feel about that CEO that got shot? Any feelings? There's some. That's the guy, the healthcare guy. Yeah, it's weird because like we haven't celebrated publicly a death since Hitler. It's like kind of blows my mind. I mean, and I think that really shows where we're standing with rich people now. You know, it's just like I feel like they've now become the Nazis in an Indiana Jones film. You know, it's just like keep killing them, Indy. Yeah, it's just like completely indifferent to it because here I can show you complete proof that this is true. That we don't care if the Richies die. It's because if you think back to when that submarine exploded that was like checking out the Titanic, like literally 5 minutes later I was on my phone laughing at memes about it. It's just like what? And I'm just like looking forward to whenever one of those rich people shuttle space vacation things blow up, you know, because I know 2 minutes later I'm going to be on my phone reading memes about it that say something like they wanted to get closer to God, but I guess they were rich enough to meet him, you know. that will happen. We all know that one of those will blow up. We know that. Guys, switch gears. Let's get off murder. Let's get off that. That was enough diabolical shit. I'm kind of disappointed football season's ending. A little bit disappointed. I'm not disappointed to hear these fucking announcers anymore. Like, Jesus Christ. They say the dumbest stuff. It's like the most obvious shit. And it's like, you know, when the announcer says, and this player's injury prone, I'm like, well, no fucking shit, dude. Have you seen what they're doing out there? That's like me driving down Colfax and going, you know that hooker? She's real blowjob prone. Like, no, that's just part of the job. That's just what they're doing out there. Speaking of blowjob prone, there's a group of people on this earth that most people dislike. I really enjoy. I think they're fun. Not in a very strange way, but I enjoy when they're around. These people are called Karens. Are we familiar with those? Like, do you know what a Karen is, ma'am? Do you know one? No? Well, that means you're the Karen. That's because no one's told you yet. So if you do have a problem during the show, please bring it to this fine lady. She will not solve it. She will escalate it. But get your phones out. It's to record. It's time to record. And that's the only advice I have about Karens is do not engage, but do record because you could go viral. And the thing about Karens, if you don't know what a Karen is, still, I'll just give you a little brief description. A Karen is a person that is usually a middle-aged white woman that has a haircut that was made popular by butch lesbians in the 1980s, you know? And you like sprinkle in a little entitlement, a little bit of crazy, and then you stir that up and you have a fully formed Karen in front of you. And I love them. I've been in the food and beverage industry for a really long time. We've been using that phrase for ages, but sometime during the pandemic, the Karen cat was let out of the bag. Just like that phone. That's a Karen calling. She's like, I know you're fucking talking about me. But the Karen cat was let out of the bag during the pandemic. And let me tell you, the Karens are pissed. And I love that because the more pissed they get, the more found out they get. The more found out, the more pissed. The more found out, the more pissed. They're caught in a Karen vortex, and it is awesome because it allows me to read articles like the one I read not too long ago that stated, woman says that using the term Karen is much like using a racial slur. And that's the most fucking Karen thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, and it's not like using a racial slur. Karen, not at all. Like, it's even gender neutral. We call the guys Kevins, you know? It's like, I just thought it was better than calling you fucking crazy. It's much nicer. Karen, come on. Like, but one thing that Karens don't like is one of my bad habits. I do vape. I used to smoke cigarettes, but I vape now because we got options, you know? It's like we got options, and people will call me like a pussy for vaping. They'll call me a sissy, and it's like, look, I think we could go all the way back in time to the manliest of men, like in World War II, and you're like, hey, we've got this unfiltered Camel, or you can have this mango frappuccino. So what's going on? Okay, you're about to storm a beach and maybe die. And so you have a Lucky Stripe unfiltered, or you can have this strawberry lime. I think I'm going to go with the strawberry lime if that's the last thing I'm going to taste, okay? I just want to see a picture of like a World War II veteran with like a vape hanging out of their mouth, like, storming Iwo Jima. It would be, because we all know we don't want to taste the earth when we smoke. We just rather taste like strawberry cheesecake. It's just so much better. Guys, I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, but I have made some huge mistakes in my life. Yeah, you should laugh at that. Anybody else? Anybody else make any huge mistakes in their life? We got a couple. Gabe has, our audience. You don't have to fess up to it. We all know we've made them. My huge mistake, I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, but I've been arrested a lot. And by a lot, I mean like 2, 3, 9 times. I've been arrested 9 times. I'll tell you my favorite arrest, though. My favorite arrest was when the cop was throwing me in the back of the car, and my best friend runs up, and he's like, hey, man, what did he do? And the cop looks at him directly in the eyes and says, he was clowning around. And just so you know, clowning around is a 3rd-degree misdemeanor. It's also known as public intox. But But I figured since I was up here and before I got off stage, I wanted to tell you about the arrest that ended all other arrest, okay? The arrest that, I call it my apex arrest, really. 'Cause I don't necessarily remember it, but luckily the Associated Press does. But that was with the help of the Aspen Times. You know, they wrote this fine, really flattering article about me. It shows it was written back in October 2015, and it really shows some character attributes of mine. And so I just would like to, I mean, the headline is just so flattering. The headline it reads, "A man says, of course it's cocaine up my nose. It's Aspen." So I just thought that was so kind of them to really put me out there. And you know, let's just jump into some of the good parts of the article. Good parts. And this one. This says they were made aware of Ford's presence when they heard the loud chopping noise of a credit card on a park bench. I don't know. I don't know where you guys are doing your cocaine. I'm doing out in nature like a real Coloradan, you know? Like the way God intended. Yeah, fuck. I mean, I don't do it in a dirty bathroom unless somebody's got some cocaine. You want to fucking go to the bathroom? Or go to the bathroom? Anyways. Now, let's get the meat and potatoes. It's right here. It says, the police shined the flashlight up Ford's nose and asked if the powdery substance was cocaine. To which Ford responded, "Of course it's cocaine up my nose. It's Aspen." You know? And I'll stand here and tell you right now that wasn't my first decision. Like, that wasn't my first option. What I really wanted to say is, no, I've been baking cakes. But what I like to think is that the sweet baby Jesus whispered in my ear, "That's not funny enough. You won't go viral with that one." So I decided to say, of course it's cocaine up my nose. It's Aspen. And the rest is history. But I will say, this is not only the beginning of my comedy career, because it was my first laugh. I just wasn't there for it, but either mentally or when you read it in your living room. But I also call it my retirement article because I quit doing drugs and alcohol after that, which makes sense because if you don't quit doing drugs and alcohol after that article, the Betty Ford Clinic ain't gonna fucking help you. You got way bigger problems, like way bigger fucking problems. But I'm happy I'm up here sober with you guys, partying and having a great time tonight. So give yourselves a big round of applause for showing up, having a good time. And we get to wrap up the show with an awesome comedian, and it's so nice to have her as the cherry on top of this great time here at Steve's Guitars. You've seen her all night. She has a column that is in the Aspen Daily News bi-monthly, so you can check that out and laugh at her jokes while you're sitting at the comfort of your own home. She was my comedy cohort and starting this entire fun vibe of being down here doing local comedy, getting us up so we can have some time, and you guys showing up and supporting us is absolutely awesome, so we love each and every one of you. So let's put up our hands together for my good friend, Beth Brandon.
All right, Miller Ford. Last time. Yeah, I know, the Goonie. Today's column wasn't really funny. It was kind of serious, so you can skip that if you want. Or read it and be like, yeah, I moved to Carbondale. Fuck Aspen. Because it was talking about that stuff, but moving on. So I wrote a whole vape joke outside of his vape jokes. And I was going to ask you guys, does anybody here vape? Like nicotine? Right? Because you're not a pussy. No, I say that because, the other day I was walking down the street and I smelled somebody hanging a butt. And I was like, good for you. Just smoking a good old-fashioned cigarette. I liked it. I liked this. I mean, I didn't always like the smell, but it made me happy to know that they were just going to shorten their life the good old-fashioned way. You know? Enough of this. I'm like, what are you doing vaping inside and then blowing it out the window? You fucking weirdos. Strawberry banana bullshit. You know what we did in high school for a time? We used Nair to shave our legs. Does anybody remember that? Nair, is a burly man who's smoking cigarettes with a beard gonna get rid of his beard by putting Nair on his face? No. It was a gimmick. It was stupid. You're shortening your life, my friend. Faster. I mean, I would vape marijuana. Let's be real. Just not that strawberry banana nicotine shit. Okay, well, the joke feels different now that I'm saying it second. Listen, I'm just an old-fashioned gal. I'm just, like, if that's just me, that's who I am. I'm old school. I mean, you should see the hand crank on my vibrator. Sure, it's cumbersome, but it gets the job done every time. Every time. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So you may have figured out I'm a woman of a certain age. I'm not old yet. I might be classified as a cougar. I did move here 23 years ago, so I wasn't 5 when I moved here. Just, let you noodle that math a little bit. I'm, like I said, of a certain age. I won't tell you the exact age, but in the last 2 years, I have had shingles and my first colonoscopy, so fuck around and find out, people, okay? Yeah, I'm like, all the shingle ladies, all the shingle ladies, all the shingle ladies, because it was right here. It actually showed up right there under my boob, and I came home after a weekend in Denver, and I looked at my husband, and I was like, oh my God, like, what is this? Like, did I get bed bugs in Denver? And he's like, I don't know, and like, he got up in there, and like, little did we know, that shit is super contagious, shingles, like, really contagious. Just word to the wise, I do see some of you are approaching the age of shingles, so don't touch your partner's shingle, or you're gonna get it. But actually, you don't have to be old to get shingles. You just have to have had chicken pox. So if it's all there, you just need to have like maybe one super stressful event, and then the shingles comes out. So that was me, but it still made me feel super old. That and Charlie horses during sex. I'm like, ow! Or I'm super athletic. You decide. So I was with one of my friends the other day. We were skiing, and we've both been in Aspen since like our 20s, right? So we did like a lot of stupid things in our 20s, and here we are, a couple Sadie, married old ladies, riding the chairlift. And so we're just chit-chatting and talking about doctor's appointments, because that's where life goes. And she's telling me about a new doctor she went to, and she had to fill out the health care history, and it asked her, like, have you had an abortion? And she was like, my God, like, that was like 20 years ago, and she had all this shame come back to her, like, why do they need to know that? And I was like, my gosh, I'm so sorry, I know exactly what you mean, though. I went to the dentist the other day, and they were asking me my health history, and it was like, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and then it said venereal disease. And I was like, that's a little judgy, dentist. Don't you think? Up here. Dentist. If I got teeth down there, we got way bigger problems. Perhaps that is where the original term beaver came from. I don't know. That was an anomaly, and then we all moved on. But the nickname stuck. My husband has an I Heart Beaver sticker he got when we were in Beaver, Utah, and he just was so happy. Like, he's like, we gotta stop at this gas station. One of his friends is here tonight, so I'm gonna make fun of him for the next little bit. I'm married. We don't have kids because, as we talked about earlier, dogs are way better. Way better. I cuddle with my dog every morning, and I'm like, I love you, I love you, I love you, and she lets me get in there, and then like I leave her for 8 hours. It's cool. And then you love your friends' dogs, and you just, you can just love a bunch of dogs. It's great. And they don't ask you for money. So my husband, I'm really, really lucky because my husband cooks for me. He does breakfast. He sometimes sets me up with lunch, like in Tupperwares, like he'll put a sauce in a separate Tupperware kind of thing. Like, he makes my dinner. I am a lucky girl. And he has a 6-pack. So I should not be bitching about anything, but here it comes. So So he's making me, I mean, he makes me breakfast. He'll give me choices. He'll be like, do you want oatmeal or do you want bagels and lox? And I'm like, bagels and lox, thank you. I'm over here writing by myself. You know, like, he lets me do whatever I want. And so I get out, one morning I get out and I choose bagels and lox, and I get out to the kitchen, and I mean, it is all lined up. It's perfect. Toasted bagels, cream cheese, there's like onion and cucumber. He forgot the tomato. We won't judge him on that. But it was almost perfect, right? So I put everything together, and I'm like, put my bagel sandwich together, and I noticed that the cucumber was like kind of thick. And you know, I didn't say anything, but so I sat down, and you know, we've been together for almost 20 years, and it's like we tell each other everything, and you know, really don't hold back. And I just could not help myself. I was like, well, that's a rustic chop. I mean, that's like more for dipping, not for slices on sandwiches, babe. I'm just saying, you're not going to win a mise en place competition on Top Chef. He should know, right? I told him I was doing that joke tonight. He's like, I don't think that joke's very funny. I'm like, well, of course you wouldn't think that joke is very funny. I just like to say mise en place. You know, some people will be like, oh my gosh, you know, he's making me this rich food. He's trying to kill me. And my husband is like somehow like turning vegan in his old age. And he's like making everything super, super duper healthy. And over the holidays, I work retail, and I'm just like, I want French fries, I want chicken nuggets, I want pizza. I just want everything that's like kind of greasy. And he's like, well, I'm making something from this vegan cookbook, and it is a broccoli and millet pilaf. And I don't know if you guys know what millet is. It's an ancient grain. And we're all familiar with broccoli, am I right? Cruciferous. And I think he'd like put a little dash of salt and some lemon in there. God bless him. You know, he wants me to live for a long time. And I was just like, okay, dinner's made for me. And I was like, well, this is a bowl of fucking farts. And then he made that bowl of farts in a double recipe. So all week I was like, another bowl of farts, sweet. Thank you so much. He ate the rest of it. I was like, I can't do that. I'm sorry. It's fine for a side, but come on, you guys. Give me pizza. I have some in the back. So as I mentioned, I do work, I want to see where I am with time. I do work retail in Aspen. I've had lots of jobs in Aspen. You might think, oh, she flew to Aspen, Colorado 23 years ago to start her career in stand-up comedy. No. I've had a lot of different jobs that have given me the material to become a stand-up comedian. So now I work in high-end retail, and it is never dull, ever. Not 1 minute. Right now we're getting a lot of Australians and Brazilians, so that's colorful. They're either cheap or they don't want you to talk to them or look at them directly. But anyway, those are the Brazilians. So because I'm of a certain age, I mean, I know there's maybe just like 2 people, 3 people maybe whose favorite movie growing up was Pretty Woman. Make some noise. That's you guys. That's you, couch in the back. Okay, so one of my favorite movies growing up was Pretty Woman, because Hooker with a Heart of Gold, like, who doesn't love that? And so now it's like really come full circle for me, you know, because now I help the Aspen prostitutes when they come into my store. And there is an influx in the winter, strange. You know, I don't know if it's like, have a ski trip, fly in a hooker. I don't make the rules, I just observe it, okay? Uptick in prostitutes in the winter. So, but I mean, I'm not a bitch like the woman in the movie, you know, because like now I get to say to those Aspen prostitutes, it's very expensive. Do you want to start a fitting room? Let's do this, come on. He's got a black Amex, he's paying, I can help. I mean, why would you be a bitch like the woman in the movie? Like, I work on commission, like I'm gonna be nice to you and show you more than just sweatpants. So I mean, it's a little less Pretty Woman experience in the store I work in, and a little bit more like Jeffrey Epstein's Scary Ski Trip. You know, they're usually young, and I'm like, blink twice if you need help. Okay, no? All right, let's do it, let's go. And, you know, I try and like pull them aside and, you know, let them know that every smart working local knows, like as a ski town local, you gotta have a job with a ski pass. So beginner's magic all the way, you know? make sure he gets you out there for some turns. He or she gets you out there. Whoever flew you in. Not a lot of beginner's magic fans in here. I've done this joke, and people used to laugh at beginner's magic, and now people are like, what? But it's also fun, the store I work at, and basically anywhere in Aspen, to play wife or daughter. Wife or daughter. And I should say daughter or girlfriend, because, wives are usually at home. And it's always a wife, it's never a daughter. Rarely, maybe in the off season it's a daughter. And like the other day, I took this woman, I set her up, put her in a fitting room. I was like, I'll come check in on you. And I went back and asked her how she was doing. And then she kind of opened the curtain a little bit. And I saw her face, but then I saw sitting on the bench in a very small 2x2 room, if we're going to call it that, mostly just salt. I was going to say salt and pepper hair, but a salted hair gentleman sitting down. And I was like, ew, why is she in there with her dad? And it's like, oh my God, you can take the girl out of the Midwest. But, every time I'm like, why is she in there with her dad? I'm like, it's not her dad, you idiot. It's her boyfriend. That's gross. Okay, so do I have 2 more? I'll do 2 more. Okay, so I've reached the pot-bellied Charlie horse phase of my life, as I maybe have alluded to. Skinny here, fit here, hiding pizza right here. Just looking for the panel to suck it all in. And it's annoying because I'm just, I don't know, is it perimenopause? I'm starting to just get a permanent bloat, and then my husband's losing testosterone, and he's losing weight, and somehow we're getting closer to the same weight, and I'm like, fuck you! Stop making me vegan shit! I'm hungry! But, it is what it is. Potbelly life. Here I am. And the Charlie horse, as I also mentioned earlier, because at 2 in the morning I get up and he's already been up to pee twice. And then I'm like, oh! I thought I had enough water since I moved to Colorado. I wear a Camelback with me literally everywhere, and apparently you just don't have enough. And you're going to start cramping any time of the middle of the evening. Just strikes. And you're like, give me a banana! So there I am in this phase of life, and my husband, as I said, is fit. So this is cool. This is good. I'm focusing on the positive. And we go out to a concert at the Wheeler. You guys been to a concert at the Wheeler Opera House? You know how you're like, this is kind of fun. Yeah, it's like, oh, is this how they did it in the late 1800s? Ooh, the chair's hitting my butt. I'm dancing by it. I'm fun. And then they let you out for halftime, and you all run to the bar. And I heard this, my husband and I were there, and I heard this rowdy group of girls, had to be a bachelorette party. And I hear them say, oh my God, we need to find a guy with cum gutters. Ah! You just heard cum gutters for the first time, didn't you? Yep, I know, that's how I felt too. I was like, ooh, let me blot the blood that just dripped from my ear. It's an aggressive term, but what it means is, the muscles on a man or a woman that go like that, point down to the promised land, those are cum gutters. Today I learn, right? Now you know. So I'm a girl's girl, and I was like, ladies, I don't mean to brag, but I know a guy, so why don't you come with me? And I drag him over to my husband, and I'm like, hey, husband, lift your shirt. And he's like, eh. And, they're all joyous, and I'm like, take a picture. They're like, take a picture, or it didn't happen. And I'm thinking to myself, my God, if he has cum gutters, what does that mean I have? Cum bumpers? Oh my God, I have my own ball. I've never bumper bowled a day in my life. I was a league night gal. Athlete. Charlie horse cramp, It's all coming together. You can see it. But it is such is life. Doesn't stop me from being naked at home. I like to run around naked. We don't have kids, so I don't know. If you have kids, you probably wouldn't run around naked, I'm guessing. But we're a naked house. So the other day, I'm getting ready for work, and I put some water in the tea kettle, and I went and took a shower. So I'm in the shower, and as I'm about wrapping up, I hear my husband coming home, and he's like, I'm home. And I'm like, cool. Then I hear the whistle, the tea kettle whistle. And then he's like, your tea's ready. I'm like, okay. So I get out of the shower. I'm putting lotion on. I put a tampon in because it happens to be that time of the month. I'm not trying to shock you guys. It's just a fact of life. So I'm just like naked as a jaybird. Like, that's it, right? So I'm running down the hallway, and I'm like, and then I get there because it's employee housing, so that was that. And I get to the kitchen, and I'm taking the kettle off the stove, and I'm naked, and my husband's right here at the dishwasher, and he's opening the dishwasher, and you know there's like the steam cycle, right? So he opens it up, and he's like, hey, you want a little steam for that ass? And I'm like, oh, well, of course I do, because, you know, Gwyneth Paltrow, goop, yoni steam. And I'm like, ooh. And I'm like smiling and laughing, and then it's like really quiet, and I'm like, oh, is my price tag hanging out? Oh, shit. I'm so sorry. And I look at him, and he's just like, I just never seen it in use. It's, And then I looked at him, and I was like, it's very expensive. I think maybe I'll end on that one. My name's Beth Brandon. That's my time. We're going to take a selfie with all of you guys.
Gabe, get up here, buddy.
Gabe, because we like to do this after our show.
Yeah, we got to get a little obligatory selfie. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
out
you
and
for coming out and
supporting
supporting
tonight.
us. We really appreciate it. We had a blast. You guys were great.
Guys, get in here. Get in.
At the count of 3. 1, 2,
Back up a little bit, Jared.
3. All right, thanks, you guys. We'll see you February 20th. Tell your friends and drive safe.
And on behalf of Steve's Guitars, we want to thank you guys for all coming down. We did not get a chance to thank our sponsors tonight, PM Consulting Limited and Feldman Wirtz Law Firm up in Aspen. And, of course, Steve and his family for having this amazing space, and all of you for being here. Thank you so much.